Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Man, I had to jump on here coming from something else. I have been going all morning. Some of it serving, some of it learning new stuff so that I can bring it back to you. You know, even us who have been deemed an expert at what we do, we still have to continue to learn. We don't know it all. I don't try to pretend that I know everything. So I continue to pour into myself so that I can pour into you. I am DrDebra Dunston, nonprofit strategist and funding coach and award winning fundraiser. And thank you for joining me at a Nonprofit Nugget with DrDebra. Well, I'll be giving you a little something to chew on. Good afternoon, Facebook user. Not sure who you are. Announce yourself. I'm glad to see you here. I am glad to see you here. As you know, this show is to answer some of the questions that I get in my work from my clients or through social media, or sometimes just random people will text me and ask me a question. I'm not sure who they are. So if it's you, let me know who you are. Okay. And so what I do with these questions is I take them and I look at them and I see for that week what questions come to the top. So I have a list of questions that have been asked of me. And so I just look to see what questions actually come to the top. And I handle those questions. This week's question is one that I get from a lot of different places. This is actually one of the ones that came in by a blind text to me. I don't mind that. Know that I don't mind that. You can always text me. So I wanted to, I get this one all the time. That is, as you have seen, what are some good places to find some grant funding, some grant money? Where can I find some grant money from? You know, I'm ready to look for grants. Where do I find that grant money? And I have several places that I kind of work with. Some people that been knowing me, like I told you, I've been in this industry for over 37 years. So some of my funders, I call them my funders. Yes, I do. They've traveled with me at different positions I've held, different things that I have done. So I have funders that actually just reach out to me to find people to give funding to, because I held that position for over 10 years. I held the position being in the middle, where you're with an organization where you receive government grant funding and then you turn around and give it to other organizations. So that's like that pass through. Oh, hello, Michelle DeWitt, Unbreakable Faith organization. So glad to see you here. You out there doing some great things. So keep it up. But so I every once in a while, just now actually, I was in a meeting with some of my funders. Yep, we meet together. We all meet together. So I still attend those things, even though because I have my own nonprofit, and then on behalf of you guys. But I also still attend, even though I'm not an employee. I'm not a director of funding and development anymore. I have my own consulting practice, but I am still their friend. I'm still in the cut. So I didn't even want to leave. We were talking about some organizations that they're looking to fund, that they were asking me, do you know anybody who's like this? So I enjoy it. And I'm going to continue to stay in contact with them. So if they're listening, I'm going to continue to stay a part of that group where funders get together and we yuck it up, you know, and talk about some of the organizations that are out there doing great work. And my clients, your name is mentioned in those rooms that I go in. So I just want to let you know that. I want people to see that you are doing great work. So this is no secret that one of my favorite grant funders are private foundations. And I like them because they have the least list of qualifications on their fundings. They have more control over what they say for their fundings because it's private money. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go after government funding. Don't think I'm saying that. But in my experience, they do still have, government do have more stringent and complicated applications process and grant requirements and reporting processes than do private funders. Because think about it, if it's your money, I always say, can anybody tell me what to do with my money? You know, so I just feel that they have more control over it. So letting that be said, let's go on. I'm going to give you a few places that I actually have used and still do use and am still connected to. I am even still connected to my friends. I call them friends or let's just say comrades, acquaintances, whatever you want to call them, even in the federal funding arena, because most of you know that my career was in Washington, D.C., many times working on behalf of the government as a contract entity that handles funding for them. So I still keep my connections and I plan to keep those connections. So here are some of the ones that I use. My first one that I really love is the Foundation Center. I used the online version in Washington, D.C. I went over to their offices. I knew the people who ran the place, but the Foundation Center can give you a list of funders that are available, and you can even search them by topics and areas and different things like that. Right now, Foundation Center has went through a change. They actually were bought out by Candid. So if you go online and even Google Candid, you can find them both places. It's the same organization. It's one of my favorite. Lots of private funders. Some I even know personally. And so I think it's a great resource for you to look for funding for yourself. Like I said, lots of private funders are in the Foundation Center. Listen to his name, Foundation. Foundations are usually private funding or corporate funding. A lot of corporations now, because of corporate giving has kind of went down, unless it's sponsorship or maybe even in-kind donation. Now, most corporations and big companies have formed foundations in order to fulfill their corporate responsibilities. So Foundation Center would be a great place to find those. Foundation Center online, or look up Candid, C-A-N-D-I-D. That's a great place to find them. Another one that I use is Grant Watch. What I like about Grant Watch is that you have the ability to actually choose your location on Grant Watch. You can choose your location. Like, of course, I am in North Carolina. So for my nonprofit, I have chosen North Carolina. But because I have clients all over the United States, I actually access other states too. When I am actually looking for funding on behalf of one of my clients, when they have bought one of my programs that actually comes with prospects, which is when you purchase my grant proposal master, you get also 2 prospects with that. And so I go and I hand select two prospects for you that I feel matches you at the level you are now, and also what you do. So not only what you do, but other things that follows that. And that's how I do that. I use a strategy for selecting. And so Grant Watch is one of the places that I use to find those, besides all the emails I get. So let me just say that first. One of the first place that I find funding is all the emails I get from my funding friends. All the emails I get for funders reaching out to me, just as I used to reach out to people when I was the funder. Can you help me find somebody for these grants? Can you help me? It's hard giving away money. I'll still say that it's difficult as a funder giving away money and finding people who are actually in position to receive the money, not just want, but in position to actually receive funding, who have the things that we are looking for. Next is the Chronicle of Philanthropy. I actually use them a lot. Actually know the person who's actually started it. Yeah, sure do. And so now the Chronicles is really big over the years that it's been in existence. I love going to them. I can even call over there actually and get some help on things that I'm looking for. So that's a great place. I would say develop a relationship with the Chronicles. I just call them Chronicles. Relationship with Chronicles, and Google them, Chronicle of Philanthropy. Google them, look them up. They're a great place to find some grants. This is one that was kind of new to me. I started using them later on. Google.org. Google.org. Most people know Google.com because we use it. We use Google. We know it as a search engine, but Google.org actually even have funders on there. So that's one that was new to me. I'm not sure when it actually came out, but I did start using them too, and have found and trying to develop. What I do is I develop relationship with funders. I did that when I was on the side of being a funder, when I was on the side of being a grantee, somebody receiving grants. I always develop a relationship. Relationship is key. So I'm developing relationships over at google.org also. I had started that. Another place is Grant Station. Grant Station reminds me kind of Grant Watch. It's kind of like Grant Watch, the same. It has a combination of both foundations and government grants that you can search by the area that you're in or the area that you serve. But it's kind of like, reminds me of Grant Watch. And so does grantplus.com. Grants, that's an S on the end, grantsplus.com. Grantplus.com and google.org are kind of new ones to me. But clients, I am building relationships with them. So that actually is an area you can go. They're kind of still, like I said, like Grant Watch. You can search by area. You can search by types of grants. And everybody knows that I think that you should start with smaller foundation grants, maybe even sponsorships or in-kind when you're a nonprofit organization that is just starting. You want to show proof of concept. And the last one I'm going to give you is grants.gov. You may say, why did she put that last? One of the reasons I put that last, because the people that I serve are either very new. In fact, some of my nonprofits, I even help them to get their 501c3. So very new to kind of medium-sized nonprofits. And those are nonprofits that are new, who haven't been out there long. Grants.gov is mostly is government grants.gov. It says what it is. And those are usually larger grants. It's probably the grant you want, but maybe not the grant you are in a fundable position to receive, because they do require more. Think about it. Your local municipality doesn't require as much as a federal grant. You see what I'm saying? So on grants.gov, you usually need a DUNS number, a SAMS account. There are more things that you need in order to receive funding from them. So even though, of course, in my employment, I've had to use them a lot, I haven't used them as much lately with the clients that I serve, because like I said, I choose to help smaller nonprofits get started, help them to get funding ready, help them to get into the playing field. Grants.gov tend to be for larger organizations. In my professional experience, I'll say that, in my professional experience, grants.gov tend to be more for the larger organization. Somebody, even if you're not that large, because I have received grants through federal government, but it was from it was a smaller organization, but they had been around for years. So they had plenty of paperwork to show that they were doing good work. They had a DUNS number. They had their SAMS account. They had all of that, plus all of the work to show what they've been doing. They had been in business for almost 10 years. So they had that behind them. So, but grants.gov is a great place. I would say still, hey, Arthur Lynette, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. So even though we see that there are several places for us to look for grant funding, I at DrDebra Nonprofit Solutions, I say, as you look for grant funding, I say that you should also be making sure that you have all your ducks in a row, because they're not used to looking for something and then disappointing yourself if you haven't gotten your ducks in a row to receive grants. In other words, I like for your organization to make sure that you are funding ready. And that's, like I said, making sure you have your ducks in a row. You check in off the sheet. You got this, you got that, you got all the things that most funders, because we never know, funders get to ask for different things that they want to ask for. After all, it's their money, right? It's their money. So you're asking for their money, free money that you don't pay back. I'm not talking about a loan. I'm talking about a grant. So they can ask what they want to ask, but at least being funding ready, having the most common things that funders ask for, having all that already in a row before you even approach a funder. And this will help to not only save you this will help to save you disappointment in the long run. But if you're interested in learning more about, it's a coaching process that I have. It's called the Are You Funding Ready Nonprofit Diagnostic. It's where we do a diagnostic of your nonprofit. We sit down and we kind of act like how a mechanic does with a car, how you take it in and he checking everything. Let me kick the tires. Let me check your oil. Let me check this. Let me check that. You know, I don't know a lot about cars. So let me check all this stuff. I take my car in and let them do it. You know, I let, what's that, Volkswagen. I let Volkswagen check it over and they do a diagnostic on it. I'm getting on the road soon, so I will be taking it back. I want them to check everything to make sure that I am road trip ready, right? So I do the same thing with your nonprofit to make sure that you are ready to hit the road to looking for funding. We go over about 20 checkpoints that would put you in the best position for attracting the funding and support that you need to do the great work that you want to do. And we work together to make sure that your organization is funding ready so that you're not wasting your time or your money, because some of you even pay people to do some of this for you besides, you know, having a grant proposal master, but writing your grants for you. But I don't care how good somebody write, if you're not funding ready, when you get to the funding table, which, you know, of course I've sat at, and we have all these grants, if you're not funding ready, we may look at it and say, you know, that's pretty good. I love that they want to do that. But most of the time what we end up doing is putting you to the pile that is not going to even come up to the cream of the crop. So even though nobody can guarantee you that you're going to receive a grant, and if they do guarantee, be wary. There's some sneaky stuff going on. You know, I've done this many years. I've been a funder for many years, and I can't stand when people call me and say, well, my grant writer guaranteed me that y'all would give me a grant. Well, your grant writer can't guarantee my money. All right. Your grant writer cannot guarantee my money. But I don't say nothing when people say that they guarantee, and that's okay. But as a funder, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because nobody's going to tell me where to spend my money. So if you are interested in finding out how to get funding ready so that you're not putting the cart before the horse, you know that saying, putting the cart before the horse, that you're getting yourself prepared, just like you would you wouldn't drive your car on a 600-mile trip and then decide when the car breaks down, dang, I'm going to take it in for a diagnostic to see what's wrong. No, it's almost too late. Then you're broken down. So you would do the same thing with your nonprofit organization. Treat it good too. Get it funding ready before you go out there and waste your time and your money. You can inbox me right here on Facebook, or you can contact me at DrDebra at DrDebraNonprofitSolutions.com. Again, that's DrDebra at DrDebraNonprofitSolutions.com. Other than that, you say you need a horse. Or you can just reach out to me, like I said, by my phone number. Texting is probably better. If you call, please leave a message, a full message. I may be with a client, but you can reach out to me if you're interested in finding out if your organization is funding ready. I can tell you more about that program. And I would love to just hear more about your vision and what the vision you have for giving back to your community and maybe even the world as a whole, you know, because you need to know that before you can even reach out to somebody else to give you money to do it. Right? Makes sense? So this has been a Nonprofit Nugget with DrDebra. And I was just giving you just a little something to chew on. All right? You want to talk to me some more? Contact me. You have a great day.